Hello everyone, this is Luciana with Uchis Design and our new animation stamps and die cuts. Today we're going to be showing you a project using our new animation die cut set DC102 small animation card. One thing that we love about this die cut set is that you can use it with your Insta photos and make so many different frames and so many beautiful combinations that you can do using the different words and the frames and your Insta pictures. I love the fact that you can coordinate your picture and your frame and the project you're working on. Here we use our embossing punch, the heart, so you can see how beautiful detail that texture is and the other dimension that it adds when you punch and emboss at the same time. You can die cut your frame in foil and then die cut again the word, and then here we also use the embossing punch for this beautiful frame. And here we use it to make a small shaker card, and then we put a punch out heart inside with the other mini hearts. I love this shaker card. It's so cute. So many things that you can do with one die cut. Okay, so I'm ready to start making the small animation card. It goes very similar to the animation card DC101. The only difference here is the arms. The top arm is a little bit skinnier. It's just because of the frame for the Insta picture is wider at the bottom. So we're just gonna pay attention when we put the grid and when we die cut the window. Now I'm following the scoring line with my bone folder and making sure that I fold it on one of the sides and then on the other side. I do this a few times so that when I open and close my card, the animation grid would slide easier. Now I'm ready to glue my grid, so I measure and cut to size. When we glue the grid, we gotta make sure that it's straight. So please make sure that when you put glue and you put your grid, the lines are straight so they can align with the animation stamp. So we finished with part number 1 and now we're ready to start with part number 2. For part number 2, we're gonna use a pattern paper that's 5 3/4 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Then we're gonna go ahead and fold it in half and make sure that you use your bone folder to help you crease your scoring line. Now I'm ready to glue part number 2 into part number 1. Make sure that both parts align perfectly because when you open and close the card, you don't want any of the parts showing in the front or in the inside of the card. And here I'm putting glue all around it because we're going to die cut the window in the center. So make sure that when you put glue on the sides. There I was double checking that nothing was showing on the front. Now that I have both pieces glued together, I'm ready to die cut the window. This is how everything looks so far. We're going to take part number 2 as a reference. We're going to want to place the die cut in the center of part number 2 because part number 1 is a little bit wider. So use part number 2 as a reference, and then also use the arms for the grid because the bottom arm is a little bit wider. So it's going to be center between the arms and center from left to right according to part number 2. I ran the die cut machine twice back and forth just to make sure that I cut through all 3 layers. And now I try open and closing to see how everything is working. Now I'm going to die cut the 2 frames for the inside of the card and the frame from the front of the card. Now we're ready to die cut the words on each frame. To do so, make sure when you place your die cut, you place it straight. And then what I like to do is secure it with some washi tape, so once I run it through my die cut machine, I make sure that it stays straight. Here you can see that it worked perfectly. And now what I like to do is put some black paper on the back so the word pops up. I do the same with the rest of the frames. And once I have them ready, we are ready to start with part number 3. For the back of the card, we're going to use the main die cut again, because this way we make sure that the front of the card matches perfectly with the back of the card. This time we're going to cut away the arms and we're going to use the folded part to glue on the card. When you glue the back of the card, make sure that your gluing is straight so it doesn't show in the front of the card and everything is perfectly aligned. Now I make sure that everything works and that the grid slides very smoothly. After we glue all the frames, we're ready to stamp. When you stamp using your animation stamps, you gotta make sure that the vertical lines of the stamp align perfectly with the lines of the grid. That's why I like to use the front of the acetate as a reference, placing my stamp perfectly aligned with the lines, and then I pick it up with my block straight, so I'm sure that every time I stamp, I'm stamping straight. Before I stamp in my project, I like to stamp 2 or 3 times on a scrapbook paper just because this stamp is new, so I want to make sure that I get a solid image when I stamp in my project. I use the die cut window as a reference to stamp perfectly in the project. If not, you can use a stamp positioner to make sure that you're stamping right where the window is. Once I stamp, I use a piece of animation grid just to make sure that it works and is aligned with the grid. To finish the project, I like to put a little bit of glue in the bottom of the card just to secure everything, and then it's easier for the grid to slide when I open and close the card. I hope you love this animation project as much as I do and have a lot of fun making it. You can use this animation card in your planners, in your pocket pages, in your scrapbook layout, and add an interactive and fun element to your projects. Thank you so much for watching!